ready for this. This is going to be actual good now. If you got the stream on and you've just got it on, and just in the hope it returns to casting Company Heroes 2 at some point, it is now your time to return to the stream. And let's get it on. Without further ado, welcome to the south of Crossroads. Welcome to Pappy O'Daniel, the powerful one. The one that's going to have to play out of his skin, quite frankly. Because up in the north, who's he up against there, Tenshi?
Well, it is, of course, a man, a myth, a legend. His name is VonIvan, and he is going to be playing the Wehrmacht faction here in this game today. First time I'm casting VonIvan.
What do you know? Tell us what you know. Go on.
Oh man, you always put me on the spot, but at the same time, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, but you will know stuff about VonIvan, surely. You've seen him streaming.
Yeah. Yes, I have.
How does he talk?
Hey, what's up, boys? Captain's house.
Oh, it's close. I'm like Kappa Clash, but I have had 3 years to practice. You know.
Yeah.
So
he's got a very distinctive voice.
VonIvan has low preservation rates. However, he covers for himself in tournaments by using MGs. It's literally a crutch, because the MG is a suppressive faction. He tries to utilize them as a crutch. I'm just going to turn your volume up momentarily.
Yeah, sure, man.
So that's how he tries to go with that one. No, that's the wrong thing. Hang on. He's very notorious for his Maxim play as Soviets, and he's currently the rank 1 Soviet player. But obviously they got nerfed, so instead he's been playing Lend Lease.
I was just going to say that. so because that's what's come to dominate all the Soviet play right now, basically. I mean, the Drushka is all the buzz together with that M4C Sherman. This is interesting, though. VonIvan right away going in for that Osttruppen doctrine, and this, with the limited knowledge that I have of all of the players in Company of Heroes, this just makes me think about Helping Hands, you know, because he had a lot of success with this, playing Osttruppen.
He did. He really did. So Osttruppen is one of those doctrines that have played well. It can be excellent. You get better map control. You get these cheap squads that are able to tango from behind cover with the increased rates of fire, etc. So it's an interesting one for sure. Well, eager to see how VonIvan does as them. I have seen him play these on stream quite a lot. Oh, it looks likely he may be able to take the central garrison here. This is a big loss for Pappy if he loses that. Pappy, no!
Oh man, this is going to be really tough. This is one of the key structures on Crossroads, and especially so when you're playing USF, it's really hard to deal with. He can go for a mortar, that would be a viable choice here perhaps, but I mean, until the point where he can dislodge this machine gun, it's going to be really tough. However, I think this is a great move coming in from Pappy O'Daniel. He's going to go for the cutoff, effectively isolating all of these resources on the left side. So Von has to do something to reclaim this position, as you can see. With only these Osttruppen, they can't go toe-to-toe versus Riflemen.
He can't. He has, however, set up the MG in a very odd position. Facing north behind the cover on the wrong side, he's able to suppress the United States Forces Riflemen and then possibly reclaim the garrison. So that is VonIvan for you, Tenshi. He's a very gutsy player. He's a very aggressive player, and he does oddball stuff that when it works, it's genius, and when it fails, it's moronic. But he is a great player.
I'm definitely like in any competitive game, you know. I generally become a big fan of these kinds of players. It's always, you know, they're playmakers, you know.
Oh yeah.
And the way you put it was perfect, because if they pull it off, it just looks absolutely godlike, and then if they fail, it looks terrible and miserable. Anyway, mortar is out now here for Pappy. So I mean, he's got all of the appropriate tools that he needs in order to respond to this, but. Right now, look at the number of squads here on the field for VonIvan. You've got 4 of these Osttruppen squads, and like you pointed out, they actually do fairly well if they stay in cover.
They really do. And look at the TAC map there. The Osttruppen just swallowing up the map like Pac-Man after the blue pill. He's just going insane. But VonIvan, another way to sum him up, to be honest, is if you did a highlights compilation video of him, you'd make him look like the greatest player in Company of Heroes history. But in this tournament, this is his biggest opportunity to win, quite frankly, a major global tournament. He's only won NA tournaments before. And he's looking really strong. He's looking so strong. So I'm very eager to see how he does against Pappy, because Pappy's a decent USF player. So it'll be very interesting today.
Look at this. The way that VonIvan just pushes up so aggressively on the map, flanking this building with the Pioneers. Flamethrower finishes up perfectly, and now he can just send everything in, and coming in in tandem with this, he's got the machine guns always moving up behind these Osttruppen. VonIvan actually playing really well. This is just right off the bat for me one of the better games I've seen him play, because whenever I think of VonIvan, I'm just like, that's a man losing squads left and right. But like you said, man, when it goes well for him, it looks brilliant. And this already isolating Pappy in his base. Look at the map control. He's got basically every single territory.
I'll say it now, and I've probably said it before, VonIvan is a legit contender based on his recent practice performance. If we could have reseeded the tournament, it would possibly be a toss-up between him and Devem for #1 seed. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that to hype him up. He's been looking fierce. A completely changed player, in all honesty. And as you say, in this first game, that great push there, popping with the flamethrowers on the Pioneers from the south-siding face of that garrison, he just demolished the tactical situation. And now he finds himself with nearly every single territory on the map.
Again, he's got this machine gun team on the right-hand side. Double Osttrooper as well, ready to move up, covering the flanks as well. He is going to force a retreat here of this Pioneer squad with a flamethrower, but again, he can just get these guys into heavy cover, start laying into the flanks. A very wide push coming in from Pappy, but I mean, he's got some of the units to south suppressed. Good use of the smoke hit towards the right-hand side. Is it going to be enough? As his rifles are going to get right on top of these Osttroopers. VonIvan needs to be paying attention to these guys right now, as he's going to be risking losing them, but there we are. He's on top of it. He is going to be able to get those squads out of there. As finally, Pappy manages to at least break the contain, but at what cost? I mean, he's lost so much time. VonIvan, look at his resources here. Had the double fuel forever. He's going to add in a third. He's going to start teching now to tier 2 here, which is going to give him access to even heavier stuff. Like, we could see a very quick Panzer IV here start wrecking the field.
We really could. Pappy has gone for the Lieutenant Tech to get out the 50 cal, the machine gun. But that means he won't get the M1AT gun up against any tier 3, so he's going to be pushed down into really low tech for a long time. However, you've got to point out there, Tenshi, at least he has the mortar, and it is a comeback mechanic in the game, because even if you're penned up, you'll see the smoke is able to be popped from the mortar, and even from your based territory, you can start to work your way back out onto the battlefield with a mortar.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, looking at the general tactical situation right now for Pappy, sure, he's reclaiming the right-hand side of the map, but his squads are very low. He's getting an ambulance to remedy that. But I think the biggest issue is going to be this just very quick tier 3 coming out here of VonIvan and a Panzer IV. I don't think there's going to be too much he can do. Sure, he could go for the bazookas, but that's just going to be a soft counter. And with all of this infantry on the field on top of that supporting the vehicles, it's going to be really hard for Pappy O'Daniel to muster a comeback, I feel. If you just still look at the fuel income there, 13 a minute to the 38 of VonIvan, he's got massive advantage still.
There's potential here. There's potential if he were to go captain and possibly get the M1 out. The AT gun, he could possibly work his way back onto the battlefield. He's now capping his eastern victory point with the MG, which is a good, multiple squad suppression mechanic against the 4 Osttroopers on the field.
You know, I wouldn't even mind an Ostwind here, to be honest. From
oh god,
I think that would actually definitely be devastating. Because I mean, he's only got the infantry. He doesn't have enough fuel to squeeze out any sort of vehicles. Nothing from call-in. He's in so much trouble in this game. I mean, I know 8 minutes in, it's a little bit early to perhaps call things in a Company of Heroes match, but I really feel that this is definitely VonIvan's game to lose. Just judging by the map control, he might be losing one of these Osttrooper squads right now with Veterancy 1, but again, he's just all of these nets of machine guns covering every single angle.
We've got to try and stay thinking positive for Pappy. That's all he's got at the moment is a wish and a prayer, because he's not had the economy at all. His territory control has been poor. VonIvan has been all over him like a rash of Osttrooper. It's just not been looking too good for him.
No, definitely not. You know, if there's one thing that I know is very effective versus a prayer and a wish, that is, of course, Kruppstahl.
And we're getting a bit of it right now as the Panzer IV is about to rock onto the field. That's 9 minutes and count it.
Probably the quickest Panzer IV I've ever seen in a game.
There you go, 17 seconds, 9 minutes 17 for VonIvan in this game. That is unreal.
Well, I mean, controlling the double fuel for such a long time, here it is, paying off a dividend. So look at that. After making a Panzer IV, he's caught up to the fuel of Pappy again. As you can see, this is just absolutely devastating.
It's gratuitous.
And now this is going to show up. Yeah, he's got, and he doesn't have any sort of tools to deal with this. He's
No,
got nothing.
not one.
He's researched the BAR. Yeah,
What?
he started
Okay.
equipping bazookas, but he's got enough munitions to get one bazooka. That's it.
I've already called the mortar a comeback mechanic quite tenuously. I'm not going to try and say the bazooka is as well. I'm just trying to make it sound good for Pappy. I'm like saying, it's all right, mate. You've got an ambulance. Your trees can protect you. Oh no, the tank's driven round the trees. This is not looking too good. And here you go. He's gonna. Even if he's at least there's a bazooka there on the rear echelon, they've just about managed to get a bazooka up. However, he's waiting for the munitions to get another as the 3/4-ton ambulance gets stricken down. This has got to be a throw in the towel situation, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, unless VonIvan so typically overextends here, because I think this is one of the moments, where he might potentially end up throwing the game. But as I say that, I mean, he's got more rifle teams swarming him, but there's no veterancy on these guys to the south in the US base, so they can't even get the rifle navy and no chance to get the snare. And this is because he's forcing all of the units to come back home. As you can see, VonIvan is just going to be capping up the rest of the map yet again. And he's actually got enough fuel to get himself either an Ostwind or a Stug, depending on how he feels. So he's still got all of the tools that he needs to just continuously lock in Pappy in his base.
And that's where Pappy should be locked into. He is a danger on the streets of Gothenburg. I mean,
This is rough.
it's looking very rough. It's looking quite brutal. Quite frankly, if I was Pappy O'Daniel's referee, I would not have only thrown in that towel. I would have gone to the local Bed Bath & Beyond and bought several more towels and thrown them in as well. And quite frankly, the ring would be a whore's bedroom at the moment. It'd be pampered. It'd be all over the place. Couldn't think of an analogy. I've never said that analogy before. I mean,
we're basically witnessing the noose close right now.
Oh no, he's kicking. The noose closed, the trapdoor's opened. That was when the Panzer IV came out, and now he's kicking, and it's quite, the crowd. The crowd had a bloodlust at the start, but now they're just like, oh, this is sad. Just finish it already.
Just end this man's misery, basically. Like, what can he do at this point, A? I mean, you've been casting this game for a long, long time, but if we just look through his options here, he doesn't have the tech to get anything. His only straight up AT are going to be the bazookas, and that's it. That's all what he's got.
I think, yeah, no, he's screwed. I mean, the only thing he has going for him is he's only lost 200, nearly 200 victory points, 180 to be precise. So somehow he was able to hang on to one victory point during some of that. So he's not. But then you get there again, and he's got a Panzer. Two Panzer Fears on the field now. Panzer Act.
You know what I would love here? If he just took these Panzer IVs and killed the machine gun bunkers, the 50 cals outside the US base, and then he could effectively start sending in his infantry as well, to just completely overrun the main base of the US forces, and that would look actually be pretty cool, quite cinematic to witness.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, as he rolls up both of these Panzer IVs, gets a machine gun upgrade on them as well. The anti-infantry capabilities here are just going to be so overpowering, and he might go for the rifle nade on this Panzer IV to the north, but he's not going to be able to finish it.
He'll get a bazooka shot and he'll keep it wounded for a little bit, maybe. No, the Panzer IV comes in to push around the model, stop it, even getting off one of those shaped war charges there. It's going to have to retreat back to base.
Very little HP, dropping a bazooka as well.
Oh,
he needs to with his rifleman, but
really does.
VonIvan is going to go for the chase, and that's it. Pappy taps out from game number 1.
Jesus Christ.
What a crush coming in there from VonIvan.
But it's just kind of cool in a way. It's kind of like a little bit more StarCraft-esque, where the best player can just stomp a weaker player in 13 minutes, 45 seconds. No RNG utilised.
That's one of the first times I can completely say, yeah, man, that was spot on.
That's why I've always maintained that Co can be a competitive game, because I've always seen the best players rise to the top, and this isn't even rising to the top. This is the best player taking another very good player and curb stomping him, frankly.
I mean, we witnessed that last weekend, if I'm not mistaken, with Findeed versus Lovenest as well. Just sort of similar situations. We didn't see Findeed get locked into his base in the same way, but it's just that you always saw the better player always just staying one step ahead of his opponent constantly.
Oh, absolutely. It really felt as though Loveness was on top, but I actually think Pappy can get his way back into this. But unfortunately for him, he's now up against VonIvan Soviets in game 2. He can't be feeling too great about that situation by any stretch of the imagination, really.
No, it's going to be very tough, to say the least. I mean, I think just touching upon the subject of like the mentality in a competitive game or like in a tournament environment, it's really important as well. You like in an extended series like this, if you just get completely crushed, and I think especially so in a game like Company of Heroes, that is a little bit slower paced at the start, so there's a lot more room for maneuverability and stuff like that. I just feel as you get punished so much harder for like a big mistake or a big squad loss, or for instance, like we saw in this game now, lack of map control. So that could definitely affect him, coming into this next game, because as you said already, he knows that VonIvan is very good with his Soviets, so it's already going to be a very tough comeback to sort of put together.
God, it is. He's got a lot of work ahead of him, but I have faith. He wouldn't have gotten this far in this tournament against the opposition he's been up against, both in placement matches and also in the first round. He won 3-0 himself in the first round. He made his first round look like a stomp. And VonIvan won 3-1. So I'm very eager to see what can happen. And of course, VonIvan's strategies, potentially, they're very predictable. So maybe he'll have something up his sleeve, much like GB Hooligan did in that amazing best of 5 series last week. Because don't forget, Aimstrong stomped hit in his first game. And then we saw, that happen. So very interesting. Very interesting.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Give me a second. I'm just gonna open my window, actually.
Okay, that's fine. They can't see you at the moment anyway. I'm trying to find my Tenchi logo that I've saved. No worries about it. What a guy. What a lovely man. What a hero. Saving Co one day at a time, it seems. Where did I save that? I'm such a bad... There we go. There he is. Found him.
Cheers. Sorry. Yeah, I just had to open my window.
It's okay. I've saved the stream. I found the logo I made for you. How about that?
You made a logo for me?
Yes, Tenchi.
So kind of you.
I know. I'm a great guy. Did you catch my lift music dancing earlier?
I didn't. I did not.
It was.
I mean, we did some of that last weekend, but
yeah, it was
never
good.
again. I swore.
A sacred oath, indeed. I wonder how many current viewers we have. It'd be quite surprising to have more than 20. So let's check. We've got 122 watching through Dan's stream still, which is nice. 585 viewers watching a stomp between VonIvan and Pappy O'Daniel in that first game.
Thus far.
Thus far, that's why I said thus far. And anything can happen in KO2, and we will stress exactly what happened with the Aimstrong series last week. And Aimstrong stomped in his first game, and then it went to all 5 games. So, very exciting. Very exciting.
Exactly.
I like you, Tenchi. You've got hype. That's a good quality in a man.
Thank you. I do try.
Are you single?
I am.
So that's
for the time being.
Exactly. So any single ladies in the chat there? Tenchi wants at least a 9.5 out of 10 in terms of looks. But in return, he brings the hype. So there you go.
Exactly. I'll make you seem more exciting than you are.
God. All he cares about is looks, because with regards to personality, he'll elevate your boring, your personality regardless.
So that's what I do. That's what I do with Stormless.
Of course, he carries you in 2v2, and you elevate the personality. I get it.
Exactly. Now Dan is actually really funny. Like when we just hang out, like because he streams so much, right? He's a little bit more sort of like he holds himself back a little bit. But when we're just hanging out, like the banter is so good, and I really want to bring that to stream sometime. I think when we've done some like Counter-Strike and Battlegrounds together, we've definitely sort of gone places where we haven't been together before. But yeah.
Oh God, I see what you're doing there. Very good. We're a bit more subtle when we're doing a tournament broadcasting, but I still think like me and you potentially know each other's humour that well that even if you vaguely hint at what joke you may have made in a less formal situation, I still get what you're going at. Anyway, let's see if this game 2 is ready. Let's have a little look.
Yeah. You'll have to invite me again to the observer party, I believe, so I can join you.
Ooh, I see Zarok and Findy are scrimming. I like that
Oh.
because Zarok has helping hands in the next couple of weeks. So he's got a tall task ahead of him. No pun intended.
No, that is good. Oh, it's true. I just like, oh, realized what you meant there. Um,
There's
no,
your
yeah,
invite, big man.
absolutely. I mean, I think you asked me this last week, like, who would be my top contenders, like with my, like my humble picks, and I did say Helping Hands and Love Nest, because those are the two players that I'm obviously the most like well versed in.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you just consider their form thus far, and like having watched both of their streams quite a lot,
Mm,
they're looking really on point right now.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely going to be very strong contenders,
I mean,
at least from my point of view. So I'm actually quite excited now to get to see VonIvan, because I've always, as much as I like the guy, and we've had a ton of fun playing Battlegrounds together.
mm,
Most of the time when I've been watching his stream and when I've been seeing his games, he's just been losing so many units, and it sort of became a thing. I was taking like a few like jabs at him last time. I was like, oh well, this kind of look makes me think of VonIvan.
you know he'd murder you if you played, though, don't you?
Oh yeah, no,
And you're a good
definitely.
player, and I guarantee you, VonIvan
Thanks,
in
man.
his current
I try.
form would murder you.
Yeah,
He's
no,
currently beating
certainly.
Dev consistently. He's beating Loveness consistently, Helping Hands consistently. Actually, Loveness, I haven't seen him beat Loveness too consistently, but Helping Hands and Devem, he like as Soviets, he's been 4-0ing, 5-0ing them.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, so his Soviets is so formidable with that Lend-Lease
Yeah,
commander.
I guess the big thing there to sort of just keep an eye on, would be the maps specifically, because if we sort of take away from the factions, if you just play
Yeah,
Soviets versus Wehrmacht 5 games in a row, are they rotating maps, for instance, or are they just playing the same one? Because I mean, obviously some maps and some side spawns really play a big role in how strong your opening is potentially going to be, for instance, um, like left spawn on Colony Firma. So
mm. It was on
but
Crossroads, which is a pretty MG map. I see what you're saying. And VonIvan actually surprisingly needs the maps to be quite MG orientated. Um, but also penals. He's got the mobility of penals. To be honest, I don't think there's a map where his strategy, which uses penal battalions as the heavy infantry, M3 as the light recon unit, so it needs a lot of shot blockers and sight blockers to juke behind, etc. And then MGs, which prosper in wide open territory. So it's an all-encompassing strategy, is the current Lend-Lease build. And it's arguably a little bit too powerful as it stands, but it's not uncounterable. It's just VonIvan's a beast.
yeah. I mean, you give them. It's not about the tools themselves. It's all about like how the God,
How you use them, it's
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's how they're put to use by the craftsman is what I was going to say.
very quickly, because I've not had many breaks today, I'm just going to quickly show the sponsor screens and stay and talk about them at the same time.
Yeah, go ahead.
So 20 seconds on each. This is your first of the £50 plus benefactors logos. You've got such great guys as Major Bloodknock, Sherlock, Iron Fist, Planet Smasher, Can't say them all in 20 seconds. There's too many of them to talk about. These guys all donated £50 plus. Some meant much more. So thanks for funding today's activities and this entire tournament. You are legends. There's also a Discord competition. If you want to clip some of the great action today and post it in the Discord channel, you can find that in Stormless's Twitch, because it's not mine. There are all those panels, but you'll find the Discord regardless if somebody asks politely in chat, and you'll find it there. So yeah, get your clips there. You can win Discord merchandise. Also, we have another competition. If you want to then put those clips to good use, or any clips you found yourself, maybe download some casts, maybe download some replays, make some highlight videos. You can post them on the Kotu.org thread, and you can win something much more than Discord merchandise. You can win a AAA title on Steam of your choosing. We'll pay for it. And every entrant that makes a video that qualifies will win an emblem and faceplate. And the last slide here on the reel of Spiel and Shilling is more benefactors. And I do count Kotu.org for their excellent platform and Relic, more news to follow on them. But there's also great benefactors there, such as Ashes of the Singularity, which is from Callum, and Wikinger mod, which is a great mod. And back to Tenshi live in the studio. Hello, Tenshi.
Hello, AE. That was excellent, man. I unpaused the stream to watch those slides, and it was cool. It was very clean.
Thank you, my dear sir. I am an expert shill.
I would say that I am a strong contender to challenge you for that one,
I
though.
bet you are.
Because, if there's, I've been plugging your YouTube quite like extensively over these brief casts that I've had together with both you and Dan. I've been like, you know what? I'm gonna do it right now.
Oh yes. Okay.
All right, guys, so before we come into this game, of course, if you missed any of the action going down here in GCS, make sure that you head over to YouTube and check out AE underscore Company of Heroes, or AE Co. I'm not entirely sure which one of those it's going to be. Yeah, it's AECOH, there you have it, just for confirmation. But go check them out, go check out his channel, hit that subscribe button to get updates, and of course the live VODs of any of those games that you might have potentially missed, because they're all going to be posted there, guys. So if you missed any of the action, head over to that channel and check them out to keep up to date. And, well, coming into this one, take it away, man. There we are. That was actually not great.
I was dancing and pointing at my wallet. I do only get $18 a month from YouTube. I will just paraphrase. But anyway, now that's out of the way, I think it's time. It's time, everybody, to get on with Game 2. Very quickly, just going to put the scores in because I am an OBS Master Race user. Which means I can't do it on the fly, which is a shame, but there you go. That wasn't too hard. It's worth having a stable platform and a computer that works. I'm looking at your face, Tension. You're not laughing enough at my jokes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. You know, it's not in my contract. You have to pay me more.
Okay, fair enough, right. Okay. See, he likes his own jokes. It's great.
There's going to be like a little fine print at the bottom of it where it says, like, to laugh at the jokes, like, and then a sum that you guys put in.
Okay.
You have to write it with ink.
And now, over to Crossroads, where in the south we find the victorious one. The scary one, quite frankly. VonIvan is looking dominating today, and most recently in scrimming and in auto match, he's looking like a very powerful player. He's now playing his glorious Soviet faction that is currently #1 ranking. And who do we find in the north?
Well, of course, it is going to be his opponent here. This time, spawning in as OKW. It is Pappy O'Daniel, currently 1 game down in this best out of 5 series. Definitely took a beating there for the very first round. Looked absolutely brutal. So now the question is here, is he going to be able to bring it back and equalize the scoreline?
Is he? Let's have a look. There we go. I've got my cursor back. And is he going to be able to equal the scoreline? He did just dip out of the capping circle for a moment, so that seems like he's a little bit shell-shocked still. So he's going to have to survive an onslaught. And let me explain exactly what that onslaught is. It's VonIvan, possibly the most powerful player on a particular faction, on a particular doctrine in the game right now, because he is as Lend-Lease tactics, which means he has superior early game dominance. After this initial lull in activity, he's able to field the penal battalions with the SVT semi-automatic rifles. Limited production run. They did then revert to the Mosin Nagants, but the penal battalions got them, and they have a superior rate of fire. He's going to be fielding those bad boys in the M3 scout car soon to be built. And then he follows that up with Dushkas. Then he follows that up with M4C Shermans. Tenshi, can he be stopped?
That is the real question here, man. Like, it's all on Pappy O'Daniel's shoulders right now. So obviously everyone knows me as a huge OKW fanboy. And I mean, honestly, just going up against Lend-Lease right off the bat, it's really, really tough to break. Any mistakes being made in terms of the tech choices, or if he loses a key unit, like, let's say, for instance, the Sturmpines early on, that's a huge loss here for OKW. So it's all going to be about the squad retention right now. Already, both of these guys just trading a little bit there in the middle. But for now, not really going to be rushing to contest the other player's fuel. But here's that scout car you were talking about. And this is, of course, one of the changes that were made recently in the GCS patch. It's, of course, that the Volksgrenadiers can no longer throw out those Panzerfausts if you haven't actually deployed your half-tracks. So this is, I mean, there's a lot of potential for just us seeing Pappy O'Daniel get bullied around the map for at least a little bit here in the game.
Tenshi, I can feel the salt coursing through your veins, despite your very professional job of casting there. But there is a Rakettenwerfer in the build that should be rocking onto the field, with the propensity to possibly stop this M3 being quite so powerful. Kubel adding in a little bit of fire. Sturmpine is going to jump into this garrison very momentarily to add in some Sturmgewehrs. The Kubel is dead in the water, however. I don't know why he built it, and he's going to very shortly find out that he shouldn't have built it, because the M3 is going to dominate it quite frankly. It's going to try and find its way out of there, but of course the M3 does have a rear-facing gun. The STGs to the rescue, those superior DPS. Raket and Verfus getting in position. Will the M3... Kubel's... It's a trap there, Tenchi. It's a trap!
Oh, I think he's gonna... Yeah, he's definitely gonna get it. The Kubel will end up falling. And there we are. He loses 3 men in the squad as well, and he's going to pass by these Stone Pioneers. They've got those STGs to bring to bear, and all of the squads are going to be collapsing into this retreating squad. If he can pick this off this quickly, this is going to be a really good pick-off right now.
Negative cover. Will he get it? It looks like he's going to get it. That is a big win. What? How did he live? How did he live?
That is so frustrating here for Pappy. I mean, that squad should have been dead. At least I really like the fact that we saw the mines go down the left-hand side and he went for that very early Raketten and it paid off in dividends. Just sad that he can finish things off. But for now, I mean, the fact that he manages to deal with that early M3 is so nice for him. It's going to give him a lot of leeway here coming into the mid-game fairly comfortably.
There you go. That's that simulated inaccuracy of real-life gunfights. Every shot you take does have an accuracy applied to it. That is... a dice roll, in effect, so you need to get more shots in order to guarantee the kill. You would have thought he'd gotten enough bloody shots in there, Tench. He had 3 squads, negative cover. He managed to kill one of the 2 soldiers, but not the other, and that is really unlucky. And we've got another M3 built. The very cheap units. They only cost 190 manpower, 15 fuel. At least the Raket and Verfers on the field, and at least the supply trucks now out are going to be setting up as a battle group headquarters very momentarily. Another Raketten goes in. He's got another shot in. He's now gunning them down with the Car 98 rifles. He's got to get rid of the second M3. It's VonIvan throwing is his most powerful faction.
Oh, well, that is actually really close there. The
Raketten
had to turn a little bit there, so he's going to be able to retain that M3 at the same time. I mean, he's trying to force the issue. Okay, quick pause there for a second. But he's trying to force the issue right now. As you can see with his infantry, he's got these penals caught in a crossfire between both of these Volk squads, so he is going to be forced to pull out of there for now. Von right now, he's actually, after losing that first initial M3, looks as if he's struggling a little bit. This early Raketten really slowing things down for him.
I had a cursor bug, if everybody wants to know there. My cursor got swallowed up by the game. Quick Control-Alt-Delete, and that's rescued. There we go. Mechanized regiment there. Very, very ballsy from Pappy. He's full-going infantry healing. He's going to go straight for the Panzer II Lukes. So he's clearly feeling quite confident out there, Tenchi.
Yeah, this is, you know, actually, I think in a way we have a somewhat similar situation coming out here where Von isn't actually going to have any real sort of AT. I mean, I guess he could get the PTRS upgrade, but he doesn't have too much in terms of the munitions, as you can see. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to go down at the same time.
Oh, nice.
Oh, this is... Oh, he has to dodge this. Yeah, there we are. Pappy's alive and he's awake. Would have been...
Good test.
Really, would have been really embarrassing if he didn't see that demo charge, or that satchel charge.
We now have the base building up. He's waiting for 60... fuel in order to get that Panzer II Lukes on the field, and he's going to be looking quite confident from there on out. And I think, to be honest, Pappy O'Daniel has exceeded all expectations here. Oh, great mine going off there.
This is nice as well. He's going to bring up all of this infantry. Bear in mind now,
we
do have the Raketten. Goes for the max range hit, and he's actually going to be able to get away here. This is so close. Oh, the AI, it's slowed down for a second, getting blocked there by the wall, and he is going to be able to get away at the same time as he forces Pappy O'Daniel off of the field.
Tell you what, Pappy O'Daniel's playing excellently right now. He did not make the wrong decision to try and find the M3 there, because he would have lost a squad if he'd gotten greedy. Some excellent incendiary grenades going in, killing models on the penal battalions. VonIvan, although he does have map control, he has lost a lot of these engagements, and if you look at the KD, you'll notice that Pappy does have superior KD, and that was not to be expected going up against VonIvan's Soviets as Lend-Lease.
No, certainly not. I really think a lot of this comes down to that early Raketten just throwing a spanner in the works here for VonIvan, because investing into another M3, I mean, sure, the investment in terms of fuel isn't massive, but it is going to slow teching down a little bit. He's going for his tank of battalion right now here, AE. What do you think he's going to do with this? Like, in what direction is he going to take it? Are we going to see What do you think it's going to be? T34 maybe?
You mean a T70, by the way? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
SU-76 or a T70 are two options
Yes,
there, Tenchi. Or an M5 quad mount.
SU-76 is what I was thinking of here.
Indeed. It's an interesting one. I think it's obviously VonIvan, so we're probably going to see the T70, to be honest. But he might be even going... Yeah, he'll be going T70 into probably the M4Cs. That's probably what he'll be going for. He doesn't really care for going Tier 4 even, VonIvan, because he doesn't care about the bonus to the build times. M3 marauding around the centre, just trying to push away the Stern Pioneers. And keep the pressure up, but I think Pappy has done excellently so far. Really well. So actually gone against expectations. And done better than he did in his first game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just feel as if he's being a lot more attentive with his squads right now. Just paying it. He's a lot more focused. I feel. As you can see, he's got sandbags here up on the left fuel. He's going to be able to reclaim that. He's also swept a couple of mines in the middle of the map using these Stone Pioneers, and he's being very proactive here with the Rakettenwerfer as well, making sure that he's always moving it around, not just getting static with it, which we see a lot of players do. You know, it's as if they kind of forget about that unit. So I really like this, that we're seeing this out of him, that he's just being so active with all of his units, constantly probing and pushing.
Do you know what's good for you as well, Tenchi? Nice. You haven't cast a good game yet, to be honest. You cast a few of the Stefan Beck games with Zarok that were good but messy, but this is high level, and this could end up being a good game. As a T70 comes in against the Panzer II, it's found out the Stern Pioneer is standing in its way. The Rakettenwerfer isn't quite in position. It gets around the arc of fire. However, you do have Panzerfaust coming in. Needs some damage on the HP bar for the T70. It does get it. There you go. The Panzer Fist smashes through that frontal armor. Second one goes in. Rakettenwerfer takes out the M3. Rakettenwerfer's in position to take out the T70. A big win there for Pappy O'Daniel.
This is a disaster for VonIvan. He's going to lose all of his early armor.
Yes.
T70 ends up falling. That one as well on this Raketten, so that means he is going to be able to move that around fairly quickly while still stealth, giving it yet again another element of utility there. And he's just been doing so well right now. I mean, even though the map is split fairly evenly, he's just forcing VonIvan off the map. What is he going to do? He's got the penal squads to work with, but they're all back home right now healing up. He's going to be able to take control of the entire map if he just stays active with his infantry. He just needs to start capping up on the right-hand side. And he's going to be able to just wrestle control out of VonIvan here with an iron grip.
With an iron grip, indeed. And that's those Panzerfaust with that hot stream of molten steel eviscerated the innards of that T70, and the crew members' faces were turned into something, quite frankly, resembling Tenchi's face.
Wow. Shots fired, man.
Indeed, there were many shots fired there from the Raketten, Tenchi. That Raketten's been on point all game, hasn't it? It's been like the Wunder Raketten.
Two shots it's missed.
And that's it. That's amazing.
We usually expect that tally to be like 10 at this point.
We just had a poll come up in chat. I know I'm not meant to read chat, but it does say, when will VonIvan throw? In the first game, the second, or the third? So people do expect him, even though he is looking very strong at the moment, potentially, they do expect throws from him. He is, you know, he is very strong, but he is culpable.
Well, you know, I'm kind of thinking here, like, just looking at the overall situation right now. Just VonIvan right now, he's going into an SU-76, right? And this is going to be to give him access to that artillery barrage and as well to just deal with these light vehicles, because as you can see here from Pappy, he actually invested in the battle grouper, so he's going to get that in-base healing, which is going to be very helpful, save him some munitions. But we're not going to see anything super heavy really here. Nothing in terms of medium armor or anything like that yet for Pappy. So I mean, Vons does still have an opportunity to perhaps... Oh, that was scary.
I thought that was a squad wipe at first, and I'm glad you did as well. So yes, SU-76 is out, but you know what, this is great. This indicates to me that VonIvan is on the back foot. VonIvan never really goes SU-76s unless he's absolutely up against it. But in his credit there, Tenchi, VonIvan is a player that never quits. Even to the jargon of many casters, he just never quits. He will never stop. He's like the Terminator. Honestly. But I will give Pappy O'Daniel a major shout out. I've been casting this game for many years now, and I've been casting Pappy O'Daniel games for many years. He's always been an above average auto match player, but that to me potentially indicates superior experience, not over VonIvan, but over some of the players you may see in GCS. This guy's been around for a very long time, and if he hits that next gear, Tenshi, he could actually be a tournament contender.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all about him just keeping it together right now because he's got this game very comfortably in his hand, but it can easily spiral out of control. I mean, as we've seen, VonIvan, he is nearing those 10 command points, and that means, of course, an M4C Sherman is going to be on the field. And Pappy, even though he does have this Raketten, he's actually going to get reinvested to a second one, which I think is an excellent choice here.
Excellent decision.
Because I mean, he's starting to anticipate that. He knows because they're at similar CPs that Von is going to be bringing one of those vehicles onto the field very shortly. So having that in good timing, very important right now in this game, because that could be one of the few ways that he actually just outright loses this game.
Oh, nice from the Raketten. If he takes a shot from behind the bushes, oh, he didn't quite do it. Elsewhere in the east, we've got the first of possibly 2 Dushkas on the field. I'm surprised it's made its entrance 12 minutes into the game, but there you go. Instant suppression. Foch Grenadiers, for some reason, duking it out, possibly waiting for reinforcements that never seem likely to come, a common theme for the Wehrmacht. And the Penals are now picking off them from behind. So Pappy showing showing a little bit of slowness there, but in general he's played excellently in this game.
Again, he's going to try to get something here with this light artillery barrage from that Su-76. Not finding anything. Pappy's still staying on top of his game right now as he got forced off of the right-hand side of the map. At the same time, looking at VonIvan, he had a really rough start there. So I want to give it to him as well, that he's just been so resilient. And I guess that sort of comes down to his... like you were saying, he's the kind of guy who just never quits unless it's not over until the fat lady sings, as they say.
Oh, God.
It's not over until VonIvan truly leaves.
And VonIvan's from, the Bible Belt kind of area. He's from Detroit, Michigan, USA, so... surely there's no shortage in that kind of singing, you would imagine. So he never seems to have ever heard it in his life, though. He's never done an early GG ever, has VonIvan. He sticks out to the very end. There you go, Su-76 trying to find a good angle on that Panzer II. Not quite able to do it.
I really like that he's keeping the Su-76 here behind this little hedgerow. It's giving a lot of cover. This is nice, though. Catching out one of these Rakettenwerfers, he is going to force that to retreat. And as you can see, right away, he's going to try to capitalize on this, roll forward a little bit there with his Su-76, see if he can find something. Unfortunately, he's going to run head first into a machine gun. Great first shell is going to come down there with this light artillery barrage. Don't think he's going to be able to finish that, though, as he's going to be forced to... He needs to retreat these squads, or else he's going to be in big trouble.
Big trouble. That was another late retreat from VonIvan. Oh, nearly got just eviscerated on retreat there by the Lukes as well. But the Penal Battalion's a costly unit to keep reinforcing, and you'll notice the overall economies are weighted egregiously in Pappy O'Daniel's favour. 62-man pop cap to 37, or supply for the StarCraft 2 fans out there.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for giving me a courtesy chuckle. I appreciate that.
I'm glad that you... Because we've sort of found a little bit of a half-half measure there, because now I say supply, sometimes I say population cap. It's
yeah, it's nice, it's cute. I want to talk about one thing in particular. I mean, we've got to be expecting special operations from Pappy. He's got to be waiting for it, because he's gone for both tier structures, not for the Schwer Panzer headquarters.
Yeah, exactly. But I think one of the issues is going to be, though, like, if you just look at his fuel, he doesn't have a lot to work with. At best, I mean, he needs to rely on these Rakettens. That's going to be the one thing here to combat these M4C Shermans. But for now, Von has actually retained most of his squads that he's maintained here for the mid-game. The first M4C Sherman has hit the field as well. And as we know, I mean, the Penals, they actually scale very well with veterancy. So in the infantry battles, I still think that there's a little bit of an advantage here to VonIvan, simply because he's got the Dushkas on top of that, as well as the double flamers.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think OKW gets so strong in the late game. I think Pappy's played so well in this particular matchup so far. I'm just rooting for him, man. I always want the underdog to win. I know it makes me biased. I am an equal opportunity offender with that particular nuance, though, and Pappy definitely in this case is the underdog. However, look at Su-76 finding an amazing angle through the hedgerow and nearly a second follow-up shot.
Yeah, that would have been really scary. If he lost that loose, that would have really put him behind in terms of dealing with the infantry right now, because look at this again, similar situation. Even though Von, with such a rough start, he's pushed Pappy all the way back into his base. He's only got these 4 territories basically that he's holding onto right now by the skin of his teeth. All of these Raketas means it's going to be a little bit harder to move up with these vehicles, but he's doing some really good work right now on the left flank as well, pulling all of the infantry and the Lukes as well towards the left hand side. And remember, this Su-76 does have that artillery barrage that he can employ to force those Raketans on the retreat.
Tell you what though, because he's gone for the ISG, the infantry support gun, also known as the Liege, he's able to now start to push out of these territories. He did take a bit of a... of course, he's gone for special operations, as everybody would have expected. But he has suffered a little bit on the manpower economy because he went for that support weapon, but it will start paying dividends for him very shortly.
There we are. Dushka rolling up and instantly picking off man on that Raketan squad. The Panzer II is still there, so I mean he's not lost control of the left-hand side, but Von is
what is that
continuously
traverse
pushing up.
rate? Look at that traverse rate on that thing. It snaps from left to right in an almost comedic fashion. It's crazy, that unit. It's 300 manpower though, quite thankfully, which means it can't be spammed. If it was anything less, you can guarantee every player would be going 6 of them.
I wouldn't be all too surprised though if we actually see a second Dushka from Von, because I mean if he can force his opponent to stick up into his base like this, like we saw in the very first game, just having multiple machine guns to cover all of the angles would really be good for him here. But again, he's making some really good use of this Su-76's barrage ability, as once more Pappy is going to try to force the issue, get out of his base here. But this M4C Sherman is ready to greet him.
It is ready to greet him. What a greeting party. The 2 machine guns, high explosive anti-infantry round, but he does take out one. The Dushka, he's taken out the Dushka. This could be his moment as he got healthy infantry. Can he push out and reclaim it? Yes, he does have an healthy infantry squad. A Folks Grenadier takes it and eats an ISG friendly fire round. But there you go, stolen ISG. That is big, Tenshi.
Yeah, that's actually so nice, but another M4C Sherman is rolling up on the left-hand side flank. This Panzer II is going to go down, and there are no Raketans turn to deal with this at the same time. Another flamethrower squad comes on up here, walking straight onto this connecting territory, and he's going to try to go for the focus fire. Now, he has taken a little bit of damage here. I'm not sure if we actually saw that Faust getting popped. Yes, it was a little too early there from Pappy, as a second Sherman rolls on in as well, and he's just going to overrun all of this infantry, force them all to go back, because he's got nothing in terms of anti-tank to deal with this.
Oh, he's been out-meted by the M4C Sherman meta. And it took everybody by surprise there. You can see the massive Sherman-shaped hole in the fence where it pushed on through, took out the Panzer II Lukes, much to Pappy O'Daniel's surprise, and quite frankly, everybody else's. But to be honest, should it have been that surprising that the M4C Shermans were coming? Should he have had a tank out at this point? I suppose his fuel economy hasn't been good enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one vice here right now for Pappy. The fact that even though Von was a little bit slow coming into this game, he still did a really good job in maintaining the majority of the map control. Now, this is a big moment right now. He's got the double snares on both of these Sherman tanks. If he can catch out 1 or 2 of them, that would be a really good start for him to come back into this. However, the building is really complicating things in terms of the pathing and the line of sight as well. As you can see, Sherman is going to stay alive, and he's going to bring all of his infantry to bear as well. However, double machine gun teams right now, MT-34 coupled with that Dushka, is going to easily suppress and force back the infantry of VonIvan, as he still retains both of his Sherman tanks in this game.
Also, you'll notice that somehow Pappy has been able to hold on to one of the victory points in this situation. So he's got time is still of his friend. He's only lost 180 victory points at the moment, and he's just lost a single light tank. He's building another Raketenwerfer. He just lost one.
Oh!
He can recruit. It's fine.
Yeah, but that's
he's going to lose the weapon. He's going to lose the weapon in one more shot. Maybe.
We'll see. He's repaired one of those Shermans, so that's going to be brought up here into the front lines of the action. Same time, Su-76 gets snared. He's going to try to finish it off there with that Raketan. Is he going to be there in time? Gets one shot off. Might perhaps get it. Now he's out of range, so he's not going to be able to finish it. Pappy's in a lot of trouble here.
He's just been out-teched, man. He's lost a Raketenwerfer. The actual weapon's been stolen. He's got another... He's got 2 in total. One's just rocked onto the field. He's been having to sink his manpower into building 2 of them most recently. Another Sherman, that's right. The Sherman's now being spammed. There's 3 of them on the field. And he just left a gaping hole in his army. The Raketenwerfers weren't able to build. He didn't have enough mines up quite frankly, and it just didn't work out for him, despite an excellent early game.
I would really like to see Von pull back this wounded Sherman to just make sure to get that repaired, but he's currently working on the Su-76. Now, the second Raketten just gets completely annihilated. Gonna go down. So just a single shot of that Sherman tank, and yeah, this should be... I mean, the writing's on the wall at this point, and
Dear God.
Pappy, it's not long for this game.
Oh man, that was so brutal. Absolutely horrific. The graph's going to be excellent for telling the story. God, you can see where the Shermans hit. 1 Sherman. Ha ha ha. 2 Sherman.
I was waiting for that, actually.
Ha, ha. 3 Sherman. Ha ha ha. And Pappy O'Daniel's army, the graph, it plummets, quite frankly. So there you go.
That is rough. I think one of the key decisions really coming, especially from Pappy's side of things, just to, I guess, offer a little bit of my very humble analysis to this, was that we saw him basically stuck on the far left-hand side of the map most of the time. And if there was one thing VonIvan was very adamant on doing constantly, that was decapping his opponent's fuel while he still retained his own. We didn't actually see Pappy down on the right-hand side of the map for the majority of that game, to be honest.
We did not. A lot of NA fans seeing VonIvan as, I quote, the Great White Hope. That's a big callback to boxing in the early half of the 20th century. And yeah, he is that, I guess. He is the best NA player, and he's a bloody good one at that. So well done to him.
Well, that's tough now. 2-0 though.
Brutal. And let's talk about the meta. I mean, there's a great Coach.org post up right now, the Portal post. The main one on there is written by me, but also co-written by Siphon X and resident strategic expert Hector. If you want to see a little bit more about that particular meta, the build orders are all there. It's how it works, and VonIvan is the best at it. He pretty much made it dominant for Soviets at the moment. And it makes people like Tenshi very sad, because he's an OKW main. And,
no worries, man. It's fine. I just take it, I spent the past year together with Stormless, just getting completely torn to bits by the Allies, just completely dominating us in 2s and 1v1s. I can deal with it a little bit longer, man. It's no biggie.
Oh, that's so sad. You're such a saint playing Wehrmacht, even though they're underpowered, I guess. What a legend. What a beautiful person with your sinister
Love Nest and.
With your sinister affinity for the Third Reich. What a beautiful player you are. Oh, God.
All right, man. But yeah, so scoreline currently 2-0 now in favour of VonIvan, who managed to really pull himself back in. Sorry, go on. You've
got to say, though, even though we've got people like Stern Panther, what a guy, by the way, saying, hey, it's just sad. He lost the M3, the T70, and still wrecked Pappy. Still got wrecked, I suppose you meant to say. And it is true, but he also didn't build mines, and he didn't have any tanks out at all, and wasn't able to defend himself.
And a lot of that, again, came down to the fact that he kept getting decapped on his fuel on the left side, where he was barely, having any presence on the bottom right side, where VonIvan, again, he left that completely naked because he was allowed to concentrate all of his forces up towards the far left side. Because that's where the front line of the battle was, but there was very little harassment actually coming in from the OKW player, and Von, he was comfortably sitting there just building fuel, basically.
He was, yeah, he was. He was able to keep decapping the fuel, and he won on the fuel meta hard. OKW, they really need to get something better than a Rakanverfer out against a player of VonIvan's caliber, because he is one of the best players in the world, quite frankly, at exploiting weak points in your battle lines, and he did that with that Sherman. It was like a Jaws moment, because you saw it on your camera, but we didn't see it on the main camera until it was too late. It just suddenly sprung a trap, and it was like, oh dear God.
Yeah, was absolutely brutal. Like that second Sherman, I don't think anyone was ready for that. Rolled in, killed the Panzer II, decrewed one of those Rakettens in one shot. Like all 4 squad members just got absolutely annihilated. Really rough moment there for Pappy, because I'm fairly sure that he felt very comfortable in that game. Where he's sitting there, he's just dealt with a light armor. He's like, all right, I just need to keep this together, and then I can win.
it was a very good game, and it's exactly what we wanted to see, because the first game was a bit brutal, to say the least.
Yeah, that's an understatement of the year.
Second game was very competitive, and it's what we like to see. Very quickly for everybody, just going to whiz through the sponsored messages in the minute it takes me. These are £50 benefactor logos from many great guys. Ones I haven't mentioned today. Pompey606, by the way, offering beer from his local brewery for the main event in July, on the 1st of July, so that's very cool of him. Toonster, with humanity above all as his profile image. 30 seconds left, everybody. So, also there's Discord competition, which is awesome. If you get clips, you can put it in the GCS Discord. Ask in chat. One of the moderators will give you the link to that. It's a very cool competition. You can win official merchandise we're getting given, which is pretty cool. To get hoodies, t-shirts, etc., just for clipping things and putting them on the internet. That's a pretty good deal, if you ask me. There's also a competition where you can then combine those clips with a video editing software, upload them to YouTube, and make a really cool video about GCS. And we'll give you a full price game from Steam for your troubles. Pretty cool competition. Also, it means we don't have to do as much work, which is always nice. And then finally, just another slide there with everybody's donation logos. So again, that's Army Guy, Ishtari in the top left. So together they gave £1,500 for the project, with Dr. Wox just beside them. So £2,000. They're the big money boys. Curry as well, 150. So that top line's pretty much capitalism in action. So there you go. And Tenshi, I am all for you to start this intro and show us how a professional StarCraft and CSGO caster does things.
Oh, hey, you put me on a pedestal, man. Always put me on a...
Starting in the West, big boy. There you go.
It's tough. Well, guys. All right, coming in here on Kolodny Firma in the east spawning position as the Soviet player. In the blue, it is, of course, going to be VonIvan, who's currently up 2-0 in this best out of 5 series. And obviously, I'm going to take this one off of UAE, his opponent in the far west. Can he hold back the red tide? It is, of course, going to be Pappy Daniel yet again as OKW. And, of course, West fighting the East. It's as if it's already happened once already.
It is indeed. And the red tide of Asiatic hordes, they're all, as Imperial Dane might say, are coming for you. You've invaded their motherland, and now they're really angry, like you've hit an angry wasp's nest, or hornet's nest rather. Let's talk a little bit about the early game. You'll notice straight away, a tale as old as time. You have to prioritise this wreckage. You also have to prioritise this funnel here. There's several key aspects to Kolodny Firma that are key. Denial of cover areas, but you'll notice VonIvan isn't one of those players. He doesn't really care so much about the nitty-gritty of tactics such as that, because he knows how he plays, and he doesn't really necessitate the kind of standard things that you would expect a player to need.
Whereas I can find, some room to praise that, kind of, or level of individuality. I think definitely in a game like Company of Heroes, where basically everything's been mapped out as like the optimal side to fight on, or the best way to take an engagement, I really just right off the bat, I feel that can come back to sort of bite you a little bit,
Just to raise a counterpoint, though, whilst we're in these early engagements, I'll keep the camera on them for everybody. But we watched a player called Jezulin last year that was at one point the best player in the game in 2014. And nowadays he plays very conservatively. Got an Ura coming in the south as he tries to get into a better position. He plays very conservatively. And I just worry that if you're overly conservative in a game that has a lot of luck elements and a lot of rewarding for being aggressive, a player like VonIvan might just be chaotic enough to reign supreme.
Yeah, that's a very good counterpoint. I guess, you know what it is. I'm going to say it like now. Like, it's all about controlled aggression.
Yes.
Making sure to just not overextend, because that's actually something that's, especially I want to say with a guy like VonIvan, that you might come to see. So I guess as long as he paces himself, sort of similar like we saw there on game number 1 and 2, where he did it really well. I think that, then that's obviously going to be, he'll obviously be finding himself in a good position. But in the second game, I just want to say that we did see a little bit of those VonIvan tendencies to slightly overextend, like we saw there with those M3s. And same thing with the T70, being very ambitious with those.
Just to give everybody a bit of the stream flavorings of VonIvan, I'm going to go for conscripts, Kappa Claus. They won't expect that. He has gone for 4 conscripts in this game. I have seen him do this. He does think it's strong. This is not him trolling. Although they don't experience great offensive veterancy, only defensive, they don't scale that well. VonIvan can use them pretty well, so be expecting interesting things from him. And he's going to try and catch him off guard, his opponent.
Yeah, and bear in mind as well, like conscripts, even though they are a little bit weaker in straight-up engagements if you're standing out of cover, keeping them in these key structures, as you can see just now, taking control of Pappy's building right outside his control point. Really nice. He's got 4 windows there as well to bring those Mosers to bear. At the same time, though, a little bit awkward because his squad in the center by this tank wreck are actually taking lots of fire in the back here from this Volk squad.
Yeah, it's a bit of a clustered engagement. There's angles all over the place. You've got conflicting arcs. And it looks like the Folks Grenadiers with their Car 98s are currently winning out, or these conscripts are being very aggressive. This, by the way, has allowed the very cheap to reinforced conscripts to flood back onto the field in the meantime. You got to consider that also.
That's true. That being said here, though, look at the map control right now here for Pappy. He's controlling the fuel income for VonIvan. And he's also got a second squad coming up from the north, going for the cutoff point. He's doing a really good job in tying things down here right now. VonIvan, he's got this squad in the in this building. They're still holding on, but he's going to be falling behind quite rapidly here in terms of the fuel income if he doesn't quickly secure his side of the map again.
God, he really is. It's going to be difficult for VonIvan. He's gone for something that his opponent wouldn't have been expecting. And it's almost like he's gone for it just to try and, you know, he's 2-0 up in the tournament. He knows this is tournament conditions. He's got a very long road ahead of him, Tenchi. So I don't think it's a bad thing to possibly experiment with your strategy slightly. And I don't think this is a bad strategy. I have seen him beat top-level opposition using this. Loveness, I saw him beat Loveness with this. So it's not like he's trolling, but he is experimenting slightly whilst he's 2-0 up in a best-of-5. And that isn't insanity in my mind.
No, I completely agree with you. I definitely think that even though it's maybe something that you're not as well versed in, or maybe like it's a little bit of an unorthodox choice depending on what map you're playing on or side, for instance, I definitely think that especially when you're up 2-0 like this in an extended series, going for something that your opponent might not come to expect could just, you know, easily give you the straight up win if your opponent mismanages. But obviously at this point, Pappy going up to 4 Vogue squads is the appropriate response here. I think he's been doing a really good job in retaining some decent map control. As you can see, both of these guys very even in the fuel. Nice mine use as well there on the choke point. As you can see, he's actually deployed a lot of mines here around the south side of the map. But I think he's just been doing a really good job, Pappy. So maybe we'll see VonIvan get a little bit punished for his decision. But I still don't think that it's outright bad. No.
Absolutely not. We have a slight lull in activity, and it will be a little time of anecdote from Tenchi and I. We were in Sweden at a karaoke bar, and there was a very touchy-feely Brazilian chap called Pappy. He was a regular at the karaoke bar, and his name was Pappy. Pappy, yes, Pappy. And he liked to touch people, and it was very, very strange and quite uncomfortable for the people he was touching, namely us. So us just casting somebody that is called Pappy is quite you know, it brings back the bad times.
Like I can't unsee it. That's just you know, when we started loading into this game, and you're like, hey, Tenchi, you're casting VonIvan versus Pappy. I was like,
no!
Oh God, AE.
Yes, indeed.
Obviously, though, you know, we have to try to retain some sort of level of professionalism here, but yeah. That was hard on me, to say the least.
You're with an expert level Code 2 caster here, Tenchi. I've been doing this since 2011 in some form or another. I know when there's a lull in activity, my friend. Don't you worry, it's fine. Folks Grenadiers now, it is starting to heat up again. We finally have guards out for rifle. You'll notice, by the way, Tenchi, in the bottom left of your screen, that is VonIvan's face as painted by Rita Rush.
Yeah, I've seen some. Yeah, I've seen them. They changed some of the faces of the commanders to match some of the top players, which is really cool. I really like that.
Only for that player, though. They're the only guys that are allowed to use it.
Oh, okay. So it's like it's account specific. That makes it even more exclusive.
It's like awesome. The most exclusive thing ever. They got it for playing the Warpaint Championship. A big flank in from the conscripts. They don't have Molotovs or 18As or any, obviously any of those 2 upgrades, which is a bit odd when you're going to full conscript play. Oh, combat
conscripts! Passing over red cover. There we are. They are going to go down. That's a very nice pickup here for Pappy, of course. Actually, this leaves VonIvan without any sort of mine detectors on the map for now. And obviously, as we've seen, a handful of mines go down there on the south side. Actually, for both players, he's definitely going to want to reinvest in that.
It's a very good point. He's going to want to reinvest and keep planting them because they definitely aren't being swept at the moment. And now as the combat engineers just got headshotted on retreat, not going to be swept anytime soon.
Oh, conscript in the church. Very low. There we are. VonIvan not doing a VonIvan. Thank God for that.
So you're going to call losing a squad is doing a VonIvan now? Shots fired by tension.
Like this. If it's a squad that's like really... You shouldn't be struggling with keeping it alive. Like if you've got half squad HP and most of the squad members alive, and then it's just sitting there for like 10 seconds taking fire without moving, then that's a VonIvan.
Oh, that's brutal. Also, to his credit, if marauding in with 4 tanks from 7 different directions somehow and defeating somebody that's meant to be better than you is also doing a VonIvan. So we're offering counterpoints. We're offering counterpoints.
Yes, I think that is a very important detail to bring up, that you always have to have a balance.
120 mil from VonIvan. He has used the command he made famous, well, used a lot rather in Warpaint Championships. STGs, there's a Sturmgewehrs, the archetypal assault rifle, going a bit overly aggressive to push away the mortar. Elsewhere, we've got engagements going up all over the place. Sorry to try and find that one. There it is.
At the same time, Von actually went all the way up there and decapped Pappy's fuel. So, as you can see now, it is going to be that Schwer Panzer headquarters being set up right now. So he is going to cover his fuel just a little bit there, not all of it. Big investment in terms of fuel. As you can see now, Pappy dropping that to 17, whereas VonIvan, he still has a lot in the bank. And obviously, with this commander choice, he does get access to the T-3485, which is very powerful.
Look at this. We've got the Schwer Panzer headquarters coming up from Pappy, so he's not making the same mistakes again with his OKW. He wants to get that structure up and get that tech out. He doesn't want to be lingering around with Raketenwerfers, although Von has given him a chance in this game, it must be said, by not going his dominant Lend-Lease faction.
Yeah, you know, and as much as it perhaps would have been a different game, I still think that Von showcasing that he can play different styles on different maps, I think is a sign of a very well-rounded play, and I think that's extra important when you're playing a series like this. In all tournament settings, in all games, you need to be able to switch things up, because if you've only got one strategy up your sleeve, and you know once that gets figured out, you're basically left dead in the water because you don't have any other options. So I do like this from VonIvan.
Yeah, it is a strong showing from him because he's going to be wanting to go all the way in this tournament. Him and I are already in talks at how to get him to the finals, regardless of whether he is a finalist. But let's face it, he has a very good chance of becoming one. So he's playing properly. He wants to win this thing for reals.
Yeah, no, I think everyone does. I mean, there's so much money on the line for this, say, and the prestige behind it as well. I think
it's got both. It's got both.
Very important. Yeah.
Not only do you win £1,400, that's about $1,800, €1,600. You also get to stand on stage and hold aloft the Grand Championship Series trophy.
That's true.
In front of all of your peers, live on the internet, in front of 5,000 people on the Twitch stream and 80 people live in attendance at one of the coolest.
And then also you get to get hammered after you've won the finals together with everyone else.
That's going to be amazing. That's an opportunity of a lifetime, quite frankly.
I'm really looking forward to the finals of this event, man. I'm already looking to get my tickets booked to fly down. So.
Oh yeah, well we want you there, big boy. Come rain or shine. Any Stern Pioneers getting shot at, quite frankly, by the Maxim, the heavily renewed Maxim, as a wider cone of fire, a little bit less suppression than an MG42, similar traverse levels, but 2 extra squad members, so a bit more defensive. Conscripts branching out in the north, capping up there.
Yeah, same time here in the south as well. A bit of a close range exchange with these cons, just tanking a little bit of that incendiary grenade, as Pappy does wrestle control of this building, and as you can see, 4 winders facing with the SCGs. Should be stopped. Yeah, he's going to tear into these guards rifles who are now heavily suppressed. So he needs to go pull those guys out. At the same time, he's rolling up this machine gun. He's got the Roquetten with him as well. Pappy's definitely forcing the issue right now, doing a really good job in trying to isolate VonIvan in his base.
You will notice that the flares, the tripwire flares, are going off for a low price of next to no munitions. That's right, it's 10 munitions for one model wipe, and he's spamming them right now. If you'll notice that comment here, or sorry, one of the vetted units, which you got the there you go. If you notice near the munitions in the south, the conscript vets two-man squad just planted loads of tripwire flares. We can find them for you if we look around. There you go. There's 1, 2, 3. That's 3 model wipes for 30 munitions. And I would argue that if we had full scope at our potential for one of these balance patches, they would be a goner. They would be on combat engineers only, and maybe 15 munitions, 20 possibly. Yeah, they're very, very scary thing to come up against as OKW.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, you get the flares, you get the vision, which lasts for 8 seconds, I believe.
Something like that. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, so, I mean, you retain a lot of vision. At the same time, though, that being said, these SCGs tearing into the conscripts down south. At the same time, Von is again going to be decapping this fuel. Now, Pappy has been holding on to it for a little bit there, so he's got 122 fuel stacked up, so we could see a Panzer IV eventually hit the field here, Panzer Aufs J. Whereas on the other side here for VonIvan, has he teched yet?
I just gave some misinformation out, and I'd like to what's the word? When you change your opinion, correct myself. That's it, because you only get one model wipe if it's grouped, so you want to spread them out. That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh man, Stern Pioneers get
Stern Pioneers where?
Incinerated right down in the south on the VP there.
Oh,
died to the flamethrowers of these engineers, and I don't think he's got another squad. Yeah, there you can see Pappy reinvesting right away. As I mean, he knows he's up against these tripwire flares, so he needs to have sweepers at all times.
That's brutal. Those groups units nearly wiped out a Volksgrenadier here as well. It's a 300 manpower squad in the Stern Pioneers going down. He's having to rebuild them because they're fundamental to the OKW army. You cannot compete without them, quite frankly.
Exactly. Now, we did see the tank heavy battalion here for VonIvan, but he hasn't really invested in anything from it just yet. So, kind of curious why he hasn't actually spent any of his money in this yet.
There you go,
I mean, wouldn't you expect to see like a T-70 or at least an Su-76 something?
He's going to be getting the Tier 4 out and going for the T-34-85s, it seems. He's not waiting for anything from the medium army. It feels like he's got enough map control. His strategy seems to be rooted, quite frankly, in heavy infantry play with the Guards, the 120mm, the Maxim, and trying to get those medium tanks out.
Nice use again there. Placing one of those mines in the heavy cover, so he does get a guaranteed model wipe. Not going to be able to wipe that squad, I believe, is another one of these Volks, which does show up. Dumps an incendiary grenade on the Volksgrenadiers there, but he has at least revealed this Roquetten, so he knows now at least that that's on the field. This is actually a bit problematic, however. He's going to get into this building, and now bear in mind, he does have the second squad supporting this. So Pappy has to make a decision. Does he stay in this engagement and commit, or does he fall back?
Interesting pitched engagement here between the conscripts and the STG Volksgrenadiers. They're outgunned, they're outmatched, and they're running away. It's the wise thing to do. It's, garrison crumbles to the ground thanks to the 120mm, which is now up to 6 kills. Doing quite well for itself, and we do now have the Panzer IV in the build, as heralded by Tenchi.
And there we are. First armor on the field, guys. Nothing yet from Von. Because as you said, they're probably going to be going straight into that Tier 4. Not doing it just yet, though. He does have the resources for it, but he's actually going to invest into a new conscript squad, interestingly enough. What are your thoughts on this? Because, I mean, that's a lot of manpower at this stage in the game that would have perhaps been better to just use for tech, or perhaps get himself something more powerful with a little bit more longevity in the game, like a guard squad.
Not only is it the manpower now, it's the upkeep cost that's going to be costing him for the rest of the game. So for everybody that doesn't know, it is only 240 manpower. But if you look at my cursor and you look at that little plus 228 right now, that is lower than it should be based on where he should be in the game, and it's going to completely deny him from building the things he wants to build at the right moments in the later game. So there's something to be aware of there. As another tripwire flare eviscerates that Focus Grenadier. Little trolling parachutes.
Brutal. But now the Panzer IV has made its presence known, and as you can see, it is going to force VonIvan to basically give up the mid right now. He can't really contest this. Bear in mind, no AT guns in the field for him either. So he doesn't have any hard anti-tank capabilities. He's going to drop the 18-8 and then back out of there.
Oh, well, that Panzer IV got a cheeky 2 models at the last possible moment there. Finally, he's got the panhandles out from the Stern Pioneers. He's looking for tripwires, trying to clear them up.
Yeah, this is nice actually. Look at this. He's using this Panzer IV to clean up tripwire mines or any potential areas where they might be placed. As you can see, he's been very active with it, moving around a lot. So I do like this from Pappy. He's also got a Raketa on the field. He's getting a second one on top of that. So, I mean, he is expecting the T-34-85, and he's going to have lots of anti-tank capabilities with this.
Yes, he is, and that's a good point. He's got 4 Panzerfaust now, platforms rather, and he's in a good position. He's also got the Schwerpanzer headquarters to fall back on as a fallback point, which can penetrate that medium armour from the back, so it's not a bad position to find himself in.
Well, that's a very good point as well there. Didn't really consider that, because I mean it is covering a very important point here right now between the fuel and his main control point really outside of his base. And this Panzer IV, it's giving him so much space. As you can see now, VonIvan is finally going to be rolling out that tank shortly, but I mean the paint isn't even going to have time to dry on that T-34 who rolls that one out into combat. At the same time, a bit of a risk here. Maybe going to end up losing these flamethrower upgraded engineers to these SCG squads.
Oh, in a very similar situation to earlier. That's pretty much where they died earlier. They do survive this time, however. I think an interesting point chat has to take into account for VonIvan in this game is VonIvan has been told by everybody he's only good at the moment because of the M4C Sherman spam. So he's very keen to show he can play with other factions as the T-34-85 comes in, and the Panzer IV is found in a difficult position as Mark Target rains in from above. That's right, the Sturmovix are providing superior reconnaissance for this T-34-85, giving it superior damage capabilities, but he does know what's been lost there, Tenshi. What have you seen?
He lost one of his very important Volksgrenadiers at high vet, and at the same time not getting the penetrating shot there off of the Panzer IV, even though he popped the marked target, and none of these Raketas actually getting off a single rocket. Now he's going to be able to get the Faust off down south, but he doesn't even go for it. Oh. So, man, this is very rough all of a sudden. Pappy's armor effectively taken out of combat for a significant amount of time, and this is going to give VonIvan a little bit of time to get back into this.
You will notice, because the Stern Pioneers are overtasked in Company of Heroes 2, they are given the benefit of superior repair capabilities, which is going to allow the Panzer IV a quicker resurgence back onto the battlefield.
Now that's very important to point out there. That I mean, whenever you have a vehicle like this, I think especially we see Wehrmacht suffering a lot from this, is that when you don't have veterancy on your Pioneers, they just take so much time to repair any damaged vehicles. So they're hard to bring out on the field yet again. But looking at the fuel situation right now here for Von, I don't think he's got enough to get another one of these T-34-85s. He's going to need about 30 more fuel for that. At the same time, Pappy O'Daniel, I mean, he's got a fair amount. He could get either a Jagdpanzer or perhaps another Panzer IV.
Oh, a Jagdpanzer would be tasty, to be honest. I think Jagdpanzer on this map in particular, if he was able to reverse and keep in line with the Raketans, it's all about how you play it, and if you get mines up, it could be a beast. But I don't imagine he's going for that. I think he's going to go for safer options, another Panzer IV perhaps, or maybe even getting us the second truck out to complete the trio and push on for the King Tiger.
That wouldn't be bad actually. Now this is a little bit scary though. Obviously we have these Raketans, very well supported by infantry as well, so he's not going to be able to do anything really in mid, as things have kind of stagnated.
Oh, brutal! How did they take out that combat engineer? And the Stern Pioneer haven't retreated yet. There you go, they have retreated now. They took out that combat engineer, and VonIvan's having to repair them. He was elsewhere concerned with his medium armor against the Panzer IV, and they lost it because of that.
Yeah, that's again very costly. Losing those support element units. I mean, they look as if they're not too expensive or too important, but it's the veterancy that it's all about.
Veterancy 2 gives you superior repair times. Veterancy 3 means you can repair under fire without experiencing penalties. So they become very, very useful in the late game.
It's really hard as well to start growing the veterancy on any new repair units or support units that you get, because they're going to be fighting against vetted basic fighting
So true,
infantry.
so true.
So you know, it's again just going to add another layer of complication here.
Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it, Tenshi. You're enjoying casting Company of Heroes. It's all coming together for you now, mate. You're starting to love it. You've got some good games to cast today, and I can feel the juices flowing. It's very nice to hear.
Well, you know, evidently having a good time here with my good buddy AE. So how can I not have fun?
Exactly, exactly.
Well,
Some
that being said,
interesting
AE, he needs to get
engagements.
these tanks repaired. He needs to get his T-34 fixed and ready. He's got another one on the way right now, and 2 T-34-85s. Obviously going to be more than a match here for this lone Panzer IV. So Pappy needs to make a decision. What is it going to be?
Oh,
He has looked in special operations.
there you go. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the Panzer Kampfwagen 5 command tank. Going to rock onto the field with a lot of assertion and the ability to wield that coordinated fire, mark target-esque ability with 25% extra pen, 25% extra damage, and just really work in unison with the Panzer IV. It's going to be an interesting battle. I can't wait. It's going to be so good.
Okay, well, look at this. He's got these conscripts on the left side, T-34 down this main road, as well as another one coming from his side of the map, together with an additional squad of conscripts. So in terms of the concave that he's got set up, it's absolutely massive. And if he were to collapse now towards this Tier 4 perhaps, or if he can catch the Panzer IV out, that would be really tough for Pappy to deal with. But he's actually going to go for the wide flanker with this T-34-85.
I'll tell you one thing now, Tenshi. I have had the absolute joy of casting many converging extreme tank moments in Code 2 history. This is your time to shine, my friend. As soon as it hits, and it will hit, I promise you it will, VonIvan is going to go balls to the wall, all in an insane assault on Pappy O'Daniel's forces. And he's assembling those forces, his forces, right now. So just prepare yourself. It's going to be an adrenaline rush, my friend. And I want you to take it away, because I've had the pleasure of doing it. There's montages with me screaming. And I want to hear your voice.
I'll do my best. But, you know, I want to just slow things down right before this moment. This is the calm before the storm, ladies and gents. It's the fact that Pappy right now, he doesn't have the fuel to get himself one of these, to get himself the very crucial Command Panther, because if, like we said, you know, if VonIvan decides to go for it, to collapse upon his opponent like this, that Command Panther could have been key, but instead he is going to go towards the King Tiger. He's going for the Tier 3, the mechanized regiment headquarters, but VonIvan's just holding back for now.
What?
He's not doing it. I mean, he's got a really good opportunity.
Oh no, he's getting ready.
But the longer he waits, the harder it's going to be.
No, he knows what he's doing. Look at these units in the north. They're going to assemble in the north. He wants everything to be perfect. He's not stupid. He doesn't come off with these amazing assaults. But here you go. You've got Pappy starting to push through the center a little bit. Raketten misses its target. He doesn't want to get any damage on any of these tanks before he pushes in. Where's this northern Okay, the northern infantry is not capping quite yet.
One of these T-34s losing about half of its HP before it's going to be forced to roll out of there, as he doesn't really have too much coverage now. One of these Rakettens actually watching one of these avenues down to the left-hand side. But like you pointed out, this cap to the north very key, because if we actually look at the VPs, VonIvan was quite far behind at 128 to 432. And it's not going to be a third T-34-85. He's actually going to opt to go towards that Katyusha. So he's going to have the indirect fire, which is obviously going to be a disaster here for these very slow and generally static Rakettens.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's going to be a crucial blow if he was able to use it all in unison. And of course, don't forget, he has, of course, the mortar squad. Oh, and oh my god, insult injury, he has the Katyusha, the ultimate tool against everything in his assault, against him. Did you mention that, Tenshi? Sorry.
Oh, no worries, man. It's
you were talking about the Katyusha, weren't you?
Yeah, but you know, if there's one thing that I respect a lot is when people do broadcasts like this, is that you're doing the observing, you're doing the production, and on top of that casting, like all of these.
I was listening, but my brain couldn't fully multitask to cope with the fact you were talking about it.
Happens to me all the time, man. Happens to me all the time. But yeah,
the Katyusha's first salvo, by the way, is going to be saved. This Stalin organ is going to wait for the perfect moment. That was the missing piece. We were like, why isn't he gone for the push now? He's just probing, he's assessing, much like the Zulus. He's just having a few men stand up just so they can count the guns.
Reconnaissance.
Exactly.
See if he can hold on to this machine gun. Hearing a couple of tripwire flares on the left side go off. Gets 3 men there.
Wow.
These double Raketas are obviously going to be very powerful as they come out with a cloak with the first initial shot, supported by the Panzer IV. Pappy as well, I mean, he's 15 fuel off from this Command Panther. Doesn't have the manpower just yet, but I believe he's going to have that right as he hits that fuel mark that he's looking for. But here we go. This is going to be it, man. He's going to roll in these T-34-85s. The first initial shot actually misses from the one on the right side as he ooh-rahs his infantry to get right on top of these Raketans. He's already catching out one. And there we are. This is going to be the Katyusha. It's going to be dropping its deadly load on top of the left-hand side here. How much can he get done right now? Not wiping anything just yet, as he's actually been really conservative. There we go. He will be able to at least take down one of these Sturm squads. There now one of the Raketas dies as well. The guards coming in up to support this operation, but
that's it though, he's getting ready, he's wiped the vital material he needs, he's getting the tanks in position, he just needs to wait until his, he's got in perfect position to unleash the mark target. That's what he's going to be waiting, that's going to be the trigger point. Has he done enough? Is he satisfied?
He's in the range, though. Oh man, wipes the squad, that is massive, also gets away with the Raketan buffer. That is a really decisive fight coming in from VonIvan.
What a great push! That was perfect.
That, he didn't even commit all of his troops to this. This was about 75% of his army, so he still retained a lot of the units in reserve. So what he can do now, he can just cap up mid and then fall back and circulate the fresh units into the front.
You know, I was so... Oh my god, the T-34-85 may be going down.
The main gun's gone. That is a big deal.
Very impotent. No, it's alright, it's fine. Mark target goes in, they will be able to suppress this Panzer IV and keep it gone. The anti-tank rifles doing great work there. Also being able to take out the Raketan with the anti-tank rifles. But the great thing about that push wasn't how cool it was, because it was nowhere near as cool as some of the pushes we've seen VonIvan do. We hyped him up to no end, but it was conservative. He had his tanks stationary, and they were just able to snipe all of those units on retreat. And that was the cool thing about it. It just literally decimated any material Pappy O'Daniel had, and VonIvan was able to keep every squad alive.
Really well played there by VonIvan. Taking out all of the key components of his opponent's army. And then, of course, on top of that, I mean, he claimed himself that Raketan, which is really nice for him to have now, because, as you can see, he hasn't actually invested into any 80 guns of his own. So just getting that is really nice, because the one thing to come back into this now, it is going to be Pappy O'Daniel relying on this King Tiger, which we're going to see on the field in a little bit. He's still got the fuel control up to the north side, but Von, yet again, as you can see, dominant on the map.
He really is, and what he's trying to show you, everybody in the chat, all 700, 800 of you people, is he can play without the M4C Lend-Lease, as the Katyusha rockets barrage that MG34 rather.
Absolutely brutal there. As you can see, just in the top right, Pappy's down to 3 Grenadier squads, a single Sturm Pioneer. No veterans here. That's actually a very fresh squad. Hasn't seen a second of combat.
Potentially there, my friend. Take a look at the graph. Go on to graph and then army value and click both players. You can pinpoint the moment. VonIvan still at max pop cap will supply for you. As he brutally in-game, by the way, killed another Folks Grenadier with the Mosin Nagants this time. But look at that graph, man. He did not lose a single thing and was able to literally decimate his opponent's army. That is an expert level push.
This is so brutal, man. Von now has the triple cap on top of this, so he's just pulled himself back into this game, and now he's got a massive advantage. Both of these T-34s have got some back currency on them to go with that. And you know, if things
and he's going for the
Panzer
against
all odds get desperate, then he could easily just go and cap with the tanks themselves.
Yes, of course he could. And here we go, he's taking out the Schwer. But here comes the bastion of the Wehrmacht army. It's 55 tons of Kruppstahl. It's the Panzer Fünf command tank. It's on the field. It's trying to take out one of these T-34-85s as a Panzerfaust comes in. Will he be able to do it? He's gunning for it. He's going for it. It's the saviour of his army if he's able to do so. He's trying to find that weak rear armour. However, here comes Mark Target. He might even go out himself momentarily if he's not careful. He's got 50% extra damage currently due to the Sturmovix. Oh, God.
This is terrible. He got snared there as well. The tier 4 solo from going down. The Raketan is going to fall, but not before the Command Panther dies in an Inferno. And this should be all she wrote. This is going to be it. Pappy just drops out of the game. Says, that's it. He's out. With his hopes and dreams that Command Panther was everything for him.
I think I'll attempt to get VonIvan in chat if I can. That's always a good idea.
Feels bad, man. That one decisive fight in the center though, when he collapsed onto that towards the tier 4, the Panzer IV, supported by those 2 Raketans, that was actually so well done there. He focused by them down. He urad that squad forward to get some vision, managed to cap one of them on top of that, and then the Katyusha barrage coming in supporting the assault, where he killed not only those Stone Pioneers but also Raketan number 2, and at the same time he was capping the north side. So he's just doing so much at the same time there, and Pappy just didn't simply. He couldn't keep up, basically.
For everybody watching today, you've seen some very exciting play. You saw, firstly, Stormless versus his PC. You saw a pretty decent series, to be honest. Tobis versus Theodosios. Theodosios did very well. Won that series 3-0, but Tobis did not look bad. He didn't get stomped by any stretch of the imagination. It was just a superior game from him. And yeah, it was a good one.
Thanks for bringing me on for this one, man. Was a little bit quickly on the fly, but nonetheless had a good time.
Yeah, it was good, man.
All right, so are we going to be getting
possibly a VonIvan interview? I am working on it just to keep everybody satisfied and wanting a bit of Von if we can. Just see, waiting. In general. Okay, I've got him. I will conduct the interview for this week, please, Tenchi, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, man? I'm gonna take my leave.
Yeah, you take your leave. That's cool. Oh god, I've had the wrong casting overlay on all this time. There we go. All right, man. Thank you for casting. Thank you for jumping in. Go back to PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and I'll speak to Von. Perfect.
Yeah, man. So thank you so much, and I guess cheers, guys, for watching today. Make sure that you go onto YouTube, AECO, sub, and check out all those previous games that you guys missed because they were sick. This is GCS. So much money on the line. Maximum hype, boys. Get in there.
God. Dear God. This man is a machine. He cannot be stopped. He's insatiable. Absolutely insatiable. Let's get VonIvan up on this shit. Where is he? There he is. Got him. Didn't actually prepare this. Let me move him in. So everybody, this is an interview with VonIvan. Hello there, the victorious one. It's Nicholas VonIvan Cage.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Gentlemen, chat, Kappa classes, how are you all doing? We are victorious, comrades, for Comrade Stalin.
You are victorious, and then what a display, VonIvan! What an incredible display! Not only did you win, but you won without using what everybody wanted you to use. That's right, without using 4 combat engineers into Su-76s with defensive tactics. That's what everybody expected. You didn't use that. You went instead with 4 comms. Very cool.
Well, to be honest, I think I was going to throw that game, but you know, it ended the right way it was supposed to end. So I'm pretty proud of the 4 conscript squads I had.
Yeah, I was of course talking about Lend-Lease, so everybody's giving you a stick for being obviously the best Soviet player in the game. So I don't know how they can, but for using obviously the Lend-Lease, and then in the end that game you used 4 cons. So that's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Feels good, man.
Feels very good. So you're now through to the quarterfinals. That's pretty good going for a big tournament such as this. You've done obviously very well in ESL in the past. On your side of the brackets, you've got Theodosios. How do you feel about that?
Pretty good, to be honest. I mean, I've been practicing against Theodosios a couple of times in the past, so I'm not really that Theodosios. I'm more intimidated than DevM Kappa.
Okay, so you're already looking towards DevM in the possible semi-final. You know, DevM's got Von Asten, and he's looking likely to either have a Fredbrick or Talisman. But I agree, you've got to look forward to that semi-final. But first, you've got to beat Theodosios, and you're only as good as your next game. So, although Theodosios, he has struggled a little bit against Refero, I guess. But today, he looked pretty strong against Tobis. He's looking like...
Oh, yeah, he did.
Did you see much of that match?
Oh, I watched a little bit of it. It was definitely an interesting matchup. I was disappointed a little bit in my NA comrade Tobias. I thought he would be doing all those troll strategies he told me he was going to do in my chat. You lied.
He was talking himself up, I guess. So the only tournament guy. No, we've got no NA players left. I'm just looking now. We've got Jay for Jet,
What, we
maybe.
don't?
Is Jay for Jet still in the tournament? Is he out now? I think he might be out.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he got knocked out by Kreenami. You are the sole bastion of North America there, VonIvan. You're flying the flag.
That's not a good thing.
That is a pretty strong bastion to have, I guess. But you've literally got the entire continent on your shoulders.
Well, no pressure. No pressure.
No pressure, Jesus Christ. Big question though now, VonIvan. We all believe, but the one thing we want to believe in is: are you coming to England for the 1st of July for the final?
Oh, you know I'll be coming to England. Who's not going to be coming to England? Everybody better be coming to England to watch this amazing once-in-a-lifetime Code2 esports event.
It's
Before
literally
there's no more Code2.
exactly. We've got to get it in before we can. We've waited to the last possible moment to make Code2 esports. It's like just when there's no streams anymore on Code2.org and we're feeling like there's other games. No, Grand Championship Series, time for esports. That's at least what I want it to feel like.
Yeah, the esports stream for company bills too. Relic, why you do this?
I feel like I'm talking to a living meme. This is amazing.
Oh, I live the meme. I am the meme.
I mean, I feel like I've got you here now. So there's so many questions, VonIvan. There's so many beautiful questions I want to ask you.
Well, if you're curious what my favorite food is, it's waffles. I really, really enjoy some thick Chicago-style waffles, especially with syrup.
Well, you're from Detroit, aren't you? So you're kind of close to that kind of area where they make
but
that kind
Cruz
of
has
food.
been spreading, isn't he? Cruz
What?
for the last time, but don't live in Detroit, damn it. I live in
You
the
live in the
suburbs.
projects, don't you, in Detroit? I heard
No, not
you're
the
like a crack
projects.
dealer, aren't you, or something? Like in Wired, not Wired. That documentary series, The Wire. I thought you were one of those
What?
guys.
Yeah.
you
This isn't a Vice documentary, Kappa.
Oh god, I thought I heard gunfire in the background when I was watching your stream. Maybe it was just the gunshot bug or something. I don't know. But
Those
yeah,
are obviously bullets in the background. What do you mean gunfire? There was gunfire, I wouldn't be able to play Code2 right now, would I?
very true, very true. With regards to one big question though, Von, can you do it as Axis against the big boys?
Well, the Pro Stupid are looking promising versus USF. I think we might be creating a new austere meta with Pro Stupid versus USF. I'm kind of
Maybe.
excited to test it versus them.
Yeah, it'll be against the best USF player of all time. It'll be very interesting, I think. So you're using a lot of Ostroop and a lot of MGs. Don't go into too much detail if I'm making you uncomfortable here, because these are very secret VonIvan strategies. But
Yeah, I have very classified strategies and reps.
oh god, so that's what we've possibly got in store for the top level players. We've got Ostrupen, we've got possibly a lot of Lend-Lease, but you can always fall back on your God Motors with your character portrait. Very nice to see. And I'm very excited to see in the journey of the sole NA player, the great white American hope that we have left in the Grand Championship Series, where you will go from here. I give you good luck, not that you need it. If you want to stream, I'll give you host. Do you want to stream?
Oh, well, I mean, I couldn't be streaming right now, Kappa. I kind of wanted to play Pump with Hans and Tenchi, but
No, you
I don't
can.
know
It's
if we
fine.
would do it.
You can do that. You've had big viewers before. You'll have it again. Don't worry.
Feels good, man.
But good luck in the rest of your games. Nice speaking to you.
You too as well, E. Thank you for the wonderful tournament that you guys have hosted and chat for fundraising this event. It wouldn't have been done without you guys, so a big thank you to everybody and a happy Kappa class.
It's an annual long Kappa clause with VonIvan. Thank you and goodbye. So yeah, that was VonIvan, everybody. An absolute legendary player, very aggressive, very good. Number 4 seed, possibly could have been a little bit higher. And I've been AE. I wish you adieu. I'll just quickly show you what you've got in store for next week, if you want to tune in then. So let's just go over to the brackets momentarily. Next stream, let me check my schedule. Just to double check. I'm pretty sure it's going to be, Fredbrick versus Talisman, and then, of course, DevM versus Von Asten. So you got a very even game to kick things off with Fredbrick and Talisman. Talisman is a very good tournament player. He's a competitive Overwatch player, so he knows esports well. And he is a little bit out of practice, I must say. He would have had a bit of a higher seed, but he has been practicing for GCS. Now he's gotten back into things, so he will be getting stronger with every week. Fredbrick is a very good auto match player, not too much tournament experience, very good Brits in auto match. So that, in my mind, will be a very good series to kick things off. And then we've got DevM, the pound for pound best Code 2 player of all time, when all things taken into consideration with regards to tournament play. He is up against Von Asten, a hungry young thing that is out for blood, basically. He wants to do this, and he wants to make a name for himself, and he wants to scalp DevM and have him as a trophy in his cabinet, quite frankly. So that will be same time next week, most likely on twitch.tv/Stormless, when Dan has got his computer fixed. And it's going to be cool. It's going to be great. So from 3 p.m. GMT, 4 p.m. BST, that's 5 p.m. CEST, or 11 p.m. EST. That's right, time zones are confusing, but consult the ticker on Kotu.org for any further details. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.